In a whirlwind of emotions, the landscape of my life was irrevocably altered just days before what should have been one of the happiest moments of my life. I was staring down the barrel of a wedding I had eagerly anticipated for over 6 years, a journey that began with a spark of love and hope, only to be shattered by the disheartening revelation of my fiancé's emotional infidelity. The realization struck me like a thunderclap, shaking the very foundation of my reality, leaving me gasping for breath amidst the chaos. I discovered this betrayal through a friend who, burdened by the weight of the secret, felt compelled to share the truth. My fiancée, who I believed was wholly devoted to our relationship, had been nurturing feelings for another man, a common acquaintance who lived far away. The emotional affair, which she insisted never cross a line into physical intimacy, had been ongoing for a year, beginning during a long-distance phase of our relationship. The details were gut-wrenching. She had allowed this man to visit her 3 times, each encounter shrouded in secrecy and deceit, while I remained blissfully unaware, nestled in the comforting delusion of our love. Confronting her was one of the hardest moments I have ever faced. The tears flowed freely as we both sat together, engulfed in a sea of sorrow. She admitted her wrongdoings, acknowledging the pain she had caused without offering any excuses. The sincerity in her voice was palpable, yet it did little to alleviate the turmoil raging within me. While she professed a desire to marry me and build a future together, I found myself ensnared in a web of uncertainty and distrust, questioning whether I could ever truly love her again without the shadow of betrayal looming over us. In the days that followed, I grappled with my thoughts, torn between love and heartache. I envisioned what our wedding day would have been, a beautiful ceremony filled with love, laughter, and the promise of forever. But now, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was standing on shaky ground, fearful of jealousy and resentment poisoning our relationship. My mind raced with the potential for future arguments and heartbreak, leading me to contemplate whether we should even proceed with the wedding at all. The prospect of counseling surfaced as a possible path forward. I thought that perhaps, through therapy, she could demonstrate her commitment to change and earn back my trust. Yet, deep down, I questioned whether this was merely wishful thinking. The emotional turmoil was taking its toll, leaving me feeling lost and disoriented, like a ship adrift in a stormy sea, unsure which way to turn. When I shared my concerns with friends and family, their responses were filled with disbelief and concern. Many suggested that she was engaging in what they referred to as trickle-truthing, where she was revealing only fragments of the truth, likely to protect herself from the full weight of her actions. The notion that she could have hidden such significant details about her feelings and encounters with another man was deeply unsettling. I couldn't understand how someone I loved so deeply could keep such a monumental secret from me for so long. Ultimately, after a period of reflection and a heartbreaking conversation, I decided to call off the wedding. The moment was heavy with sorrow, and witnessing her cry uncontrollably tore at my heart. Yet, I knew that marrying someone who still held feelings for another was a path I could not walk. Telling our family and friends felt like a scene from a tragic play. The day I had envisioned filled with joy now transformed into a nightmare. I was grateful for friends who rallied around me, offering companionship and distraction, yet my mind continually reverted to the wedding that could have been, replaying the imagined moments of joy that would never come to pass. In the aftermath of this emotional upheaval, I felt as though I had been struck down, my dreams of a happy future obliterated. I was enveloped in pain, grappling with feelings of emptiness and betrayal. The thought of reconciling with her felt foreign and repulsive. It was as if I was betraying my own heart by considering it. Dating again seemed an impossibility, a concept I had never contemplated, as I had devoted myself entirely to her. As days turned into weeks, I began to feel a slight glimmer of hope. Each day brought small improvements, tiny fragments of clarity breaking through the fog of despair that had clouded my mind. I understood that I needed to focus on healing, to gather the strength to rebuild my life from the ruins of what had been. Seeking therapy became a priority, not only for me to process my emotions, but also to equip myself with the tools needed to navigate this complex landscape of trust and betrayal. In the depths of my sorrow, I learned that healing is not a linear journey. It's filled with ups and downs, moments of clarity interspersed with waves of grief. I began to recognize that I deserved someone who would be wholly committed to me, someone who would cherish the love we shared without the burden of past transgressions. As I slowly emerged from the shadow of heartbreak, I held on to hope that brighter days lay ahead, that I could rebuild and rediscover love once again, stronger and wiser than before.